Here we have the inside of the Bailey Unicorn Cadiz. If we firstly come to the main controls just here, we can turn the 12 volts on this switch. Once we've done this, we can view the voltage of the leisure battery just here. Beside the main 12 volt switch, we have the water pump. Whenever the water pump is running, the light will illuminate to let you know. Underneath we then have the main isolator switch for all of the onboard lights, and then they can all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. And then lastly we have the switch for the awning light. If we now come to the overhead locker just here, we have the television aerial, digital amplifier just here, on and off on the top, control the boost just here, and then to raise the mast, undo the collar, pop the mast up and then get it into the position that you require, and then lock it into place. Never over tighten these collars because you can split them. If you need to do additional tuning, you can turn the lower tail here and flip the television aerial from the horizontal to the vertical position. Do make sure that for travel we are back in the horizontal position, and this green window here faces the front of the van and the red dot is looking directly at you. Beside this we have the head unit, on and off on the button that says source. This head unit has DAB and also USB and auxiliary connection. To switch between your DAB, just press like so. If we now change the source and we go to FM, again search for radio stations just on these ones here. CD in here, eject on here. And then to turn the unit back off again, just hold the source button back in. These do have removable fronts for security. Just press the corner just here and then remove. If we now come to the control panel for the Aldi heating and hot water, we can turn the system on just here. On initial startup, it will let you know if you have main supply connected and will give you an internal temperature of the caravan. If I now press the menu button, it will bring up its basic functions. So you'll see the top one here with a little picture of the house is the thermostat for the heating. So it is literally just plus and minus, pick whatever temperature you would like it to be inside the caravan. After that we then have a little picture of a shower head, and this one is for your hot water. So currently hot water off, hot water on, and then hot water on the boost facility. The boost facility is extremely handy if you just want longer showers, or if there's going to be more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other. If you do perform the boost and the heating is running, it will turn the heating off as it needs to use that extra power. After heating and hot water, we then have power source selection. So at the moment, the system has not fired up because we have not told it what we want to be using. So we have main supply here with a little picture of the lightning strike. So if I hit the plus, we can run on 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts. So just dependent on the ampage of the site that you're on to stop yourself from tripping. If we don't have main supply, we can highlight the little flame and run off the gas. And if we want heating or hot water very quickly and we have both power sources available, we can run in dual fuel mode. As it is set up at the moment, it will only consume gas as it is required. If we now press the little cog, we'll go into the settings menu, and within here we have a little picture of a moon, which is a night timer. So we turn it on and off at the top here. We can then set the temperature we would like it to be for that period. Again, just plus and minus, just pick whatever you want. We can then set when we would like night mode to begin and whether it is for all days of the week or just individual. And then when we would like night mode to end. We can also highlight this one here, which will invert the backlight for that time period. So this white screen would go to black, the writing would go to white. And we can also tell the boiler that we do not want any hot water produced for that period. Next we have the day timer, so exactly the same again, but just for the daytime. Prioritize, so this is what the system prioritizes in using when in dual fuel mode. So as I said, it currently favors main supply over gas, so it will only use the gas as it is required. If you are on an extremely low amp site, you can flip it on its head so it consumes more gas, less electricity. Next we have brightness of the screen. You can invert the backlight all the time if you want to. This one is not used on this particular model, and if you're going to be using timers, it helps if the clock's correct and you just set it here. If we now arrow down, this first one here is called antimicrobial, and basically if you highlight this one, you do have to be using also the night mode. And what will happen at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, the boiler would then come on and rapidly heat itself up to kill off any bacteria that may be in the system. This one here is just the thermostat offset, so if you don't think the onboard thermostat is quite correct, you can slightly adjust it each way. We then have high altitude mode, so if the caravan is 1,000 meters above sea level, you can activate just here, and then the system will run better at that air pressure. This one is if you just prefer to have it so it beeps every time you press it. This one is just one big long timer, as it were, so a delayed start and stop to the system. So you could have it so the system fires up at Monday at say 7 o'clock in the morning and continues to run until Saturday at 12 in the afternoon. We then have pump settings. Just leave it set to thermal, so the fluid in the radiators will only flow as it's required. Factory reset, so if there is a problem with the system you can just reset it. External start, you do have to have additional boxes etc added into the system, and then you can control it via a smartphone or a tablet. Language. Service, more for the workshop, but it will let you know what everything is up to. So you'll see currently the ethylene glycol for the radiators is at 30 degrees and the water temperature is now heating up and is now up to 20 degrees. Installed accessories. Most of anything you already need is already highlighted, but one I do suggest is very handy is this one just here, which is the load monitor. If we now find it, which is just here, if you know how many amps the site is that you're on, you can just pick on the load monitor just here, and then it doesn't matter that I'm still set on 3 kilowatts just here and I'm on a very low 10 amp site, it will control itself and stop you from tripping. Because that is now an activated function, it will appear just here on with the letter A, so I can go straight back to it to either alter it or turn it back off again. If we now actually come to the Aldi boiler itself, which is located underneath the bench seat just here, you can see the Aldi boiler itself, and then just tucked down here, if I can just get it into view, there it is the drain valve for the boiler for travel and winterization. So you'll see that it's flapped over at the moment in the closed position. To drain the boiler down, you need to make sure the water pump is turned off, and then just come to the little drain valve and flick it into the up position like so. To refill the boiler, close it back down, fill up the aqua roll, drop in your submersible, turn the water pump on, and it will begin to prime the boiler back up again. You will then need to open up the taps. They'll cough and splutter for a bit. Once they're then flowing freely, you can then close and the system will then fully reprime itself. As we move along, we then come to the hob. So we have the electric hot plate just here that runs off main supply and is operated just here. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. Everything else is gas, so it is push in, twist and press the igniter. Just underneath we have the grill. And then the oven. In the cupboard beside the oven we have the gas isolation taps just here. This one's on, this one's on. We then have off and then on again. They are all labelled up, so we have the cooker, heating and hot water, barbecue point and the fridge. To be fair, they can all be left on. They are more for maintenance than anything else. I always say if you smell gas in the van, go to the gas bottle and actually turn it off. A lot of people will just isolate their barbecue points though, because it is possible to siphon gas off through the barbecue point. Above the cooker we have the microwave. So this is an eco microwave, so you do have to hold the eco button in first just to turn it on. It is also advisable to make sure, as it says here, that you remove all contents for travel. We have quick start just here and stop. We then have main time selection just here, auto cook up the top, and then your defrost etc. just here. As we come across to the other side, if we firstly look up, you'll see that we have the solar panel regulator just here. You'll see at the moment it's kind of strobing slightly, just letting us know that there's very low UV light at the moment. Whenever there is a decent amount of UV light hitting the panel and it's charging the battery, it will steadily flash green, and when the battery is fully charged it will go to a solid green light. Beneath this we then have the Dometic fridge freezer, currently in the off position. Main supply, 12 volt maintain for when you are towing, and then lastly gas. If we're going to use the fridge on gas, we then need to come to the temperature control and we need to push it in and then hit the igniter. What we then want is this line here to drift out of the white into the green. Once you let go, as long as it stays in the green, you know it's lit. If it drops back off, just attempt it again. Sometimes they take a couple of goes, especially when there's a bit of air in the system. As soon as we now turn back, it will automatically put itself back out again. We then have the freezer box, which can be removed. As shown on the sticker just here, there is just clips underneath. Beneath the fridge freezer we have the consumer unit. So we have the 3 individual MCBs just here, the main RCD and the test button, so if something's not working on mains, just first port of call. And then we also have the 12 volt fuses just here, and again they're all labelled up. The leisure battery itself is located just beside the single beds. And then underneath the single beds we have storage underneath this side, and also storage underneath this side, which can also be gotten to from the outside. In this section here we also have the bung point, which will gain access to the winding point for the spare wheel. You'll also see in here where the fridge is plugged into. The control board for the Truma motor mover. I mean the Power Touch motor mover, sorry. And then also where the Power Touch isolator key goes in to fire the motor mover up. We also have the corner steady winding handle and the jack. Television bracket just here, which slides out. Just pull up here to release it, so you can either watch it in bed or rotate it round to watch it in the lounge. Tucked in the corner we have a main socket, the aerial fly lead point, and 12 volt if you're running a 12 volt television. As we now move in to the washroom, we have the shower cubicle just here. Then we have the basin and the Thetford toilet. Bowl swivels all about. Open to the cassette on the grey lever just here, and then push to flush. level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying, and then close back up again. If this is left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you feel resistance, just make sure nobody's left the hatch open. If we then come into the wardrobe, we have the freestanding table just here. Beneath here we have the laundry basket, and also in here we have the header tank for the Aldi heating. We need to make sure that the fluid level is between the minimum and the maximum. Always take your reading once your heating is up to temperature, as the fluid will expand in the tank. If it does need a slight top up, you can do this yourself by removing the collar just here and then undoing the cap and then adding the Aldi top up solution.